Hi, I hope you're doing well. I'm Keisha Dent, certified hypnotherapist, creator of the frequency shift method. I help professional women over 40 eliminate anxiety at the root so they can finally step into the life they're meant to be living. So I hope you're doing well. And I decided just to do something a little different this time. So this is a podcast. I definitely want to kind of play with some formats. I still intend to continue doing YouTube videos, but I think I'm going to take that in a different direction. I just kind of feel something kind of shifting. I want to really share more of myself. I want to be more of who I really am. I kind of been holding back a little bit and being seen as like too weird or whatever, but you know, I am that. I am weird. I'm a weird person, and I just really want to share more of my what I'm actually really about, and part of that is I'm kind of going to take the YouTube videos in a different direction, but I also want to experiment with doing audio only formats as well, simply because as someone with a lot of water in my chart, like spirituality is very important to me. It's my spiritual practice, my astrological practice especially is a big part of who I am and how I plan, how I guide. And as someone with a lot of water, important water placements, I hide. Sometimes my best work, I feel most powerful, I feel most focused oftentimes when I can feel kind of secure and comfortable and not be caring about the visuals, caring about how I look, caring about all these, my presentation and all that stuff. I just want to be able to just be comfortable, hide a little bit, and just let my soul just kind of speak out a little bit. So I'm going to be playing with this, long story short. But again, if you don't know me, I'm Keisha Dent. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I'm creator of the frequency shift method. And today on this podcast, we're going to be talking about patterns and the patterns keeping you stuck and talk about some solutions that work. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So first thing, I just want you to think about something for a second. And I want to ask you, how long have you been thinking about that decision? And you kind of know what I'm talking about. You know the one, the job that you need to leave, the relationship that stopped fitting years ago, the move you kept putting off. And maybe it's been a year, maybe it's been 3, maybe it's been longer than that. And every time someone asks, so, what are you going to do about that? You hear yourself kind of say the same thing. Oh, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still weighing my options. I just want to make sure I'm making the right choice. Except you're not really doing that, are you? You're not really weighing options anymore. You kind of realize in the back of your mind, or even in the front of your mind, that you're stuck. And you may have Googled things and these topics to death, and you've made and written out lists, and you've asked for advice from everyone who will listen. And you know more about this decision and these options than most people know about anything else, right? That's close to them. And still, despite all of this knowledge, all of this studying, all of this endless researching, you still haven't moved. And it's not because, again, you're not thinking about it. It's not front of mind. You know that you just can't make yourself do it. You just can't make yourself decide. You can't make yourself move. And that's decision paralysis. And the thing about it is it's a sneaky thing. And it's costing you more than you realize. So before we really dive in, I also want to let you know about something that's coming up. So if you are in the Philadelphia area, I'm hosting a free in-person workshop on Saturday, May 9th at 11 a.m. at the Radnor Memorial Library in Wayne, Pennsylvania. So it will take place in the conference room that is at the bottom, accessible by the south entrance. And it is called Just One More Year, The Lie That's Stealing Your Life. And this is part of my From Anxiety to Empowerment support circle. You can definitely check out the link that should be where this audio is posted. And we're going to go deep on exactly this. Why you keep saying just one more year in situations that are draining you. We're going to talk about how decision paralysis keeps you extending your sentence and how to finally make the move. So it's completely free. It's 60 minutes and you'll find the link to register, in the notes. So if you have been stuck on the same decision for months, for years, this workshop is for you. So definitely check it out. I would love to see you there. It's totally free. All right. So let's get into it. So, decision paralysis. Why does this happen? Why can smart, capable women get completely paralyzed when it comes to decisions that actually matter? All right. So, here's the thing. I say this so much, and it's really important because really understanding this and circling back to this just begins to unlock things, especially the more you see it happening and the more you really sit with it, right? Your brain's number one job is to keep you alive. And for millions of years, that was the priority. Generationally, it's deeply baked in. And this translates to one thing: stick with what you know. Better the devil you know than the one you don't, right? So that familiar cave that has snakes in it that you don't like, the rats, and you want to leave, yeah, it sucks. But you know what? It's safe. That weird forest that you're in, that you've been in for a while, that you kind of know where the water source is, and it's creepy, it's dark, you don't want to be there, But if it's familiar to you, that familiar forest, you're going to want to stick to it. But that unfamiliar forest, on the other hand, that might have tigers, right? It might have predators in there. So you better stick to the cave. Your nervous system can't really tell the difference at this point between unfamiliar and dangerous. And unfamiliar, but actually good for you. It can't really tell the difference between these two things. Unfamiliar is scary. Familiar is good. Because from your earliest days on this planet as a child, that was what kept you alive. And so this is baked into the hardwired into your body and your mind. So when you think about leaving that soul-draining job, your brain will show you images of financial ruin. When you consider ending that relationship that doesn't work, your brain will show you images of dying alone. When you imagine making that move that you know will benefit you, your brain floods you with every worst case scenario it can conjure. And here's what makes it so insidious. It feels like you're being careful. It feels like wisdom. It feels like you're looking out for yourself and being smart. And that voice that says, maybe wait a little bit longer. It sounds so reasonable, right? And the anxiety that says, well, what if you're making a mistake? It feels like caution. It feels good. But what's happening is it's not caution. It's your brain choosing familiar misery over uncertain possibility. And so we kind of call this like the decision doom loop, right? And this is kind of how it works. You think, I have a problem. This naturally leads to, I need to change it in order to solve the problem. But then things come up where you say, well, what about this and this and this? What if I can't? I don't think I can. And this, of course, leads to the natural next step, which is something terrible is going to happen to me. Bad things are going to happen. And this naturally circles you back to the starting point of, I have a problem. Right? So this keeps happening round and round and round, never resolving, never moving forward, just spiraling. And often we spiral down and we tend to feel worse about it over time. So, what I also like to speak about this too is, so part of my approach to healing includes cultivating and leaning into a relationship with spirit, with soul. And this can be defined however you view it. You can view it as just that. You can see it as your higher self. You can see it as higher consciousness. Okay, pure consciousness, which is one of the most secular ways, that very scientific way that we can view things. Science speaks of consciousness, sentience. But whatever language resonates with you, I really like to embrace that three-pronged approach, okay? Spirit or higher self or consciousness, number one. The mind, number two. The body, number three. And when we develop this relationship in this way, what's so beautiful about this is it helps us to place our patterns outside of ourselves, where we can begin to see them clearly, where we can claim them, where we can have greater control over them. And instead of having these things stay within us and remain locked inside of us, where we can't see what's happening. Because the thing about it is we can't change what we can't see. And decision paralysis often operates in invisible places, right? So that's why we stay stuck. It's often a lack of seeing things clearly for what they are. So I just kind of want to mention that another thing too, that restless burning feeling that we have, the drive to change your life that won't let you rest, that actually is your power. It's trying to express itself. I believe it is in our nature as humans to witness our power on earth. And we do this through transformation. We are built to change, to grow, and to evolve. But if you don't wield that power consciously, if you keep suppressing it year after year after year, it will eventually express itself unconsciously. And unconscious power very often defaults into destruction. Destruction of ourselves, destruction of our world, destruction of relationships. It becomes much easier to knock down, right? Knock down Legos. One of our earliest ways when we were children to actually see our effect on the world was by knocking things down. Okay, so we often would knock things over and giggle and laugh. That's a very early thing that we do because we are like, yeah, I did that. And if you don't cultivate a conscious relationship with your power through transformation and change, this childlike, primitive, unconscious need will express itself often through destruction. And this is why people who do stay frozen in decision paralysis for years often have their hand forced, right? And oftentimes things even that appear to be external, like health crises, relationship issues, sometimes that actually starts with our internal suppression of ourselves, right? The power for transformation, like our hunger for transformation and transformative power, it doesn't go away just because you ignore it. It will find a way out. And the only question is whether you direct it consciously or whether it directs you unconsciously. And here's another thing too. You are what you move toward. Okay? So where you consistently direct your energy determines your destination. Right now, you're directing all your energy at the loop itself, at staying stuck, at paralysis. And paralysis is actually, it happens when you choose to direct your force in a scattered way. Looking at negation, trying to move towards a positive actual thing, but also paying attention to negation, to fear, and also just scattering your energy. Compounded, directed energy at what you want will result in moving forward. So how do we change this? Okay. So three things, three quick things, right, for now. So number one, stop treating the endless thinking as progress. The first step always is recognition. When you catch yourself researching the same decision for the 5th time, that's the loop. Not wisdom, not being cautious, the loop. And it's important to understand and acknowledge to yourself, okay, here we go. I'm in a loop right now. I'm in the loop. It's happening. And understand that it's natural. It happens to all of us. It's the mind doing what the mind does, which is try to protect you, but it needs to be redirected. Number 2 is to flip the equation and flip what you're afraid of. We're often terrified of leaving, but we have to understand that what if the real risk is actually staying? What does 5, 10, 15 more years of this actually cost you? And we have to understand that often we are choosing long-term, we're choosing short-term comfort, but the price of it is long-term misery. And what we need to do is be willing to flip that and choose short-term discomfort in exchange for long-term happiness. Number 3 is to understand that this isn't happening at the conscious level. So decision paralysis lives in your subconscious. It's running hundreds of thousands of times faster than your willpower can even begin to catch up to override. You can't really think your way out of a subconscious pattern. You have to reprogram it where it lives. So, if you've been stuck in the same decision for years, I just want you to know this is natural, okay? And the problem is that you're running at the wrong frequency. And there's many ways to be able to shift that. A certain amount of shifting can happen at the conscious level. Absolutely. Awareness is a huge step. Being consciously aware, as we just kind of discussed, of your patterns. Noticing it and calling it out for what it is. I am in a overthinking loop. I'm in a doom loop. Decision paralysis loop. Understanding what your mind is trying to do. Often that alone will create shifts, and especially with practice. Okay? However, again, the most powerful changes happen at the subconscious level. And frequency shift, which is the program I created, does exactly this. It reprograms the subconscious patterns, creating the paralysis, so that you can finally wield your power consciously, instead of risking it expressing itself destructively. It develops your relationship with your higher self, with spirit, so you can place these patterns outside of yourself, so you can make the invisible visible, and finally see what's been keeping you stuck. And it helps you redirect your energy, because you are what you move toward. Where you consistently direct your energy, right? Where you consistently direct your energy, it determines your destination. So, this is about deep subconscious reprogramming combined with nervous system regulation, so that your mind finally works for you instead of against you. So if you're ready to explore whether this work is right for you, I'd love to have a real conversation with you. So book a free call with me. Okay, you can find the link as well. And on that call, we're just going to have an actual conversation about where you are, where you want to be, what's been keeping you stuck, and whether frequency shift is the right next step for you. No pressure, no obligation, just clarity, and get your questions answered, okay? Because if you've been frozen in the same decision for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you don't need another article to read. You don't need another book. You don't need another whatever, right? You need someone who understands the subconscious mechanics of decision paralysis and knows how to reprogram them at the root. And that's what this work is. And finally, again, if you're in the Philadelphia area and you want to experience this approach, you want to meet me live before committing, you want to do some conscious work on this decision paralysis, then join me for my next free workshop, which is called Just One More Year, The Lie That's Stealing Your Life. And again, that's Saturday, May 9th at 11 a.m. at the Radnor Memorial Library in Wayne, Pennsylvania. And this is part of my From Anxiety to Empowerment support circle. So you can check out that link as well. So that's it. Okay. So you've been thinking about this long enough, and it's time to choose. So important. So thank you so much, and definitely let me know if there's any topics you would like me to cover. I would love to see you at the workshop. I would love to speak with you on a call, and I want to remind you always that In order to change your life, you must first change yourself. So I'll see you next time. Talk to you soon.